Hello, Miss Ilana Pamplana. Good to see you. Woo! Happy Friday, y'all. My goodness, my goodness. How are we doing? Are you all right? Are you okay? How's your Friday doing? Man, oh man. I was literally just saying, Ilana, before you came on, I don't know what kind of retrograde of Mercury we are in for at the end of this month because I've already been having tech issues for a week. I and we're not even there. I don't even think we're in the shadow. Why? Why is the tech doing these things? But we're gonna talk a little bit about some of that actually today. But before we get into it, how has your week been, good people? How are you doing for real? That is the question of the day. How are you doing for real? I know for me, I am well inspired, a little tired, um, a little tried when I tell you. Woo! This technology tried me. I was singing the Miss Shirlene song. Tried me. I feel very tried. Tried me. Tried me. You know what it says? I'm tired, but hopeful. I love it. Look, I do love a hopeful. Speaking of hopeful, I will say I am so soulful because I've been having some really fantastic conversations today. There's a lot changing in the Business Cousins land and in the Cultivated Joy Experiment, my business land. And we solidified a lot of those decisions this week. So I'm feeling also very, very hopeful and excited about that. I also took some time to be off the internet and being chronically online yesterday and go to my favorite bookstore, the Analog Dope Store, and go pick up some books that I have been meaning to read. One of them being Sky Full of Elephants. And this was so cute and bite sized that I think it's like a little bit less than 300 pages, maybe like 280 pages. I bought this yesterday and finished reading it over lunch. Came home, finished the last couple of hours of it, but was like page 130 or so by the time I left Finn and Feather across the street and finished my little catfish nuggets. So this book right here, so good. And I think in the spirit of this season, I am preparing to get ready to lead this weekend. Again, I have so many church announcements, so many things to tell you all. But as I get ready for that, I am just so aware of this being the summer of Fire Horse year. And we are 2 weeks from the equinox. I kind of can't even believe that it's summer coming already. And excuse me, the solstice, the summer solstice. We are in the hottest part of the hottest year we've had in a while. And I sat yesterday and read this book and was so reminded of like, yeah, taking breaks, taking a little bit of a beat, finding a lot of spaces for stillness. I was also watching Lee Harris's energetic update for June, and one of the big themes there was like making space for silence, look at the wall, stare at the wall, find these moments, these little pockets of peace, because it's the heat of the hottest part of the year, and burnout is in the air. It's like, I can taste it. And if we don't tend to getting prepared for that thing, we may find ourselves there. And so I took literally the whole day yesterday to just sit and read this book. Oh, it was delicious. I went and read it outside on the patio. I was reading it on the couch. I was reading it at the Fin and Feather. I was reading it in the car because it's so freaking good. I was turning page over page. And if you're wondering what Sky Full of Elephants is, Sky Full of Elephants is that book that talks about. It is a fictional book that talks about a cataclysmic event where in the United States, all of the white people get up and walk into the ocean and unalive themselves, and what happens in the subsequent years after that, and how the world moves and shifts. And it is a wild story. And I'm so energized right now by people telling really good fiction and dropping us into this world where something so out of the ordinary or out of our mindset could be happening, but it allows us to try on these new and fervent realities that I have just been so energized by. And this book really brought up just very fantastical things that I think by considering the fantastical allow us to imagine certain parts of a world that we would create and what that reality could actually look like. And I think that in some ways, the fantastical is a little bit closer reality than our reality. So the more time we spend in the fantastical, it feels like really good fervor for imagining ourselves a reality that we actually want to live in without the need for random cataclysmic events. Welcome in, Carrie. Good to see you. Anyway, that's me and reading Sky Full of Elephants. Run, Don't Walk. If you've never read it, it's so good. How are you doing for real? That's the question for the Friday. How are you doing for real? And how do you want to care for yourself this weekend? What are you going to give yourself this weekend? I know for me, I am in a place of, I'm going to be getting to do a lot of celebrating this weekend, which I'm very excited about. Tonight, Maya, DJ My Girl, is opening for Robert Glasper at the Shed. Such a huge deal for my girl. I also, I love my people so much. DJ My Girl, this has been a summer for her. My sister was up on a billboard in Las Vegas this month. My sister is opening for Robert Glasper, who is going to be at the Shed coming tonight. So I'm so excited. I will be downtown at the Fat Cat celebrating Maya. So excited for that. So if you want to come, I think tickets are still on sale. I want to say they're like $35. Welcome in, McKenna. I get to see you. So at the Fat Cat tonight, I will be celebrating DJ Maya with Robert Glasper. I also feel like I'm going to be out and about over the weekend, giving myself a bit of a break because this week was a lot. I was active. Oh my goodness. It has been a very spacious spring. And this week feels like it said summer. Kicked into gear. Let's go. This many calls, production days, events at night. I'm like, okay, we're in it. So I'm definitely feeling the desire to fill my cup. And that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. But the question is, how are you doing for real? How you doing for real this Friday? How are you doing for real? And how you want to take care of yourself this weekend. Uh, and I'm gonna get into a little bit of the tea and the tea. But before I do, I have church freaking announcements. So many church announcements. My God, my God. Also, did you all see that Stevie Mackey interview? Who was it with? Was it with Kev on stage? It was with someone. Stevie Mackey interview where he's talking about the reality of church and why church announcements were a thing and why it went so long coming out of slavery. And I was just made me so excited to keep calling things church announcements even more because I just love the historical connection to that. But church announcements, people. June is in a month to come and be with us if you would like to. So, like I said, coming up right here soon, it is 2 weeks from the summer solstice. I cannot believe that we are in summer. Like it feels like I blinked and here we are. We are 2 weeks from the summer solstice. And that means that your cousins are huddling every single summer, every fall, every winter, every spring, a week before the solstice and the equinox, we gather to do our spring planning together, or not our spring planning, our summer planning, our fall or our winter planning, but our planning and our huddling up to talk about what we have planned for the season ahead. And this season is no different. Next Friday, so 1 week from today, from 2 to 5 p.m. PST, we are going to be gathered for day one of the huddle. Day one is where we do our planning. We kind of do our focus for the month and the seasons ahead. We talk about what we know that we need to be able to accomplish, what events we've got going on. We get that down on day one. And then day two, we're together from 11 to 5. That's going to be Saturday, June the 13th. From 11 to 5, we're going to be doing the key, the Q&A, the what we call the stress test, and go, okay, let's think about this plan that we made yesterday. Is it actually in our reality? Is it actually taking care of ourselves? Are we sure we're not selling out on ourselves? We can hold each other accountable and make sure that we have plans that actually are right for our business and right for right now. That is coming up next Friday and Saturday. There's a link in my bio to register. If you are in my business cousins community or squad, I want to see you. This is our opportunity. If I ain't seen you all season because you've had a chaotic season like I have, this is our opportunity to be with one another, okay? That's one piece. And then I also know, let me see if I can open this piece up. Um, If you have been in community with me over the last couple of months, you have heard Parshell and I yelling about private podcasts and audio learning. We are finally hosting a workshop for the people. So I think the dates for the workshop, yep, are June the 24th. So from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. PST on June the 24th, we are hosting an audio workshop to tell you all of our favorite things about audio. If you've heard us talk about private podcasts or pod classes, private teachings that are happening via audio or audio onboarding or these kind of furious thoughts, private audios and audio newsletters, right? These are going to be some of the things that we are talking about at this Power of Audio workshop. We have loved audio so much in this year. I think partially because it is such a hot year with so much going on. It feels kind of chaotic. Welcome in, Kona. There's this desire for people to still receive information, but in a way that's not overwhelming a nervous system. And audio has been so good in our world for that. So we are gathering all of our favorite audio applications and doing a little cute workshop on June the 24th. So those are some things to save the dates for, as well as y'all. Did you get your Joe Scott tickets yet? Jill Scott's on tour. Did you get your tickets? Jill Scott is on tour. Did you get your tickets? Jill Scott is on tour. Did you get your tickets? I got mine. Jill Scott will be in Las Vegas on August the 15th. I am hosting a little tailgate the night before, so if you want to come into Vegas and come and tailgate with us, we would absolutely love to have you. I'm still securing location, so if you got great location ideas, please let me know. And if I don't care if it's gonna be in my living room, we sure are having it. We are gonna have a little tailgate album experience the night before. So save the date for August 14th as well. Come and be with me. Let's talk about this To Whom It May Concern album. Let's talk about how much we adore Jill Scott. And I think it also will bring us a bit into this conversation. The theme of that tailgate is the Be Great tailgate. And a lot of those conversations have come from the conversation that I'm actually wanting to have today around this current reality that we're in and the opportunity that it is giving us to be planted versus buried. And so I'll get a little bit more into that, but that is going to be the conversation of that tailgate. Yay! Okay, please, because I'm so excited. Welcome in, Jabria. Good to see you. Yes, the Be Great tailgate, August 14th in Las Vegas, the night before the Jill Scott concert. Get your Jill Scott tickets. Welcome in, Prince. Get your Jill Scott tickets, people. Okay? So that is that. Let me see if there's any other church announcements to announce. Oh, and over the summer, Oshimari Learning Teas. Starting July 8th, we are hosting our next cohort. It is going to be a mini cohort. It's like a 4 week kind of mini over the summer cohort around lead magnets. If you need to refresh your lead magnet and you want to hear about our favorite lead magnet current ways to kind of teach and learn, come on down. Go to oshimarilearning.com. Oshimarilearning.com. Welcome in, Alicia. And let us know if you join the waitlist. I think actually we're active open enrollment. Come and be with us. You can make an offer at any level. Do not let price keep you from being with us and refreshing your lead magnet together over the summer. Parshell is also going to be hosting some working sessions where y'all can be getting that lead magnet done together. So it would be wonderful for all of us to leave the summer with nice, refreshed lead magnets. We thought that that would be cute. I hope that you all agree so we can go into the fall knowing that that typically is the season where a lot of us are doing a bunch of good business, which means that we got to make sure that we've got our marketing stuff together over the summer. So lead magnet cohort, if you want to come on down. We're doing it here on July the 8th, open doors. I think we have an info session the week before. So like the Wednesday before 4th of July, July 1st, from 10 a.m. to 11:30, we have an info session. So by all means, come by oshimarilearning.com to get that information. Those are the church announcements. Now let's get into the tea. So planted versus buried, and the reality of now is really this conversation. And again, one of the reasons why I've been in this conversation so much is because we've been getting prepared for this Be Great tailgate, this Jill Scott tailgate, and been thinking through and being in community and having conversations with our people. And folks are getting laid off left and right. Business is getting complex for folks in some ways. People are feeling like money's not moving the way that it used to be moving. Obviously, we're clear that the world is doing interesting things, and the grocery store is higher than ever, and so is gas and all of the things. Like I said, there is enough here to be buried, to be in over your head. Yes, there is enough in the current world right now that one could experience what it feels like to be in over one's head. But there is also this burgeoning happening at the same time. Every person that I talk to keeps talking about it. This inner thing that's lighting up inside, this weird alignment of opportunity that seems to be opening up in this hallway lane that, like, I can't understand why all this craziness is going on and I should be flipping out, but there's this other thing happening as well. And my fear is that if we are so focused in the dirt going over our head that we don't think about the fact that that dirt is required for us to be planted to sprout new life, we're gonna miss our opportunity. Welcome in, Sharik. Good to see you. Look at it 3 times in 1 week. How blessed am I? Okay. So I need for us to be, and this is not a conversation saying put your head in the sand. There's too many dirt metaphors. This is not a conversation to put your head in the sand. This is not a conversation to say close out, don't pay attention, don't be informed, because that's necessary. Let's look around. The reality of our world is that we need to know what's going on so that we can better determine what we're going to do about it. However, if all you're doing is staying informed, and what you're not doing is also seeking whatever that thing is that's wanting to be birthed within you, listened to within you, have some spot at the mic, give the opportunity to give some air for, light a little fire and allow it to come to the flame, we've missed the mark. And in getting ready for this conversation and in really immersing myself in these realities of where we are, I really have been studying, like, I'm such a nerd. I really have been so deeply studying this time period of the late 1800s into the early 1900s, like from like 1845 to like 1930, and really just looking at that hallway, because I feel like, one, it's really interesting that like 100 years later, we're in an interesting, really similar reflection of that hallway. Two, astrologically, a lot of the astrology is giving the same tea. So I've been wanting to go like, ooh, like what can we glean from that time that helps us to better understand what's happening now and how we want to show up to it. Three, because of the Harlem Renaissance. When the girlies started circulating memes that said that the Harlem Renaissance and the Great Depression was happening at the same time, I could not unsee it. I could not unhear it. Ancestrally, ancestors of that time kept wanting to be in conversation with me about it, and I couldn't shake it. And so I just found myself in this little ADHD hole of just studying and looking at old archives and old documentaries and PBS shit and reading and picking up articles about the intersections of those times. And what I found, y'all, there was the Great Depression and there was jazz. There was the Great Depression and there was Langston Hughes and like the praxis for the liberation for the civil rights movement, the thing that changed our world. And there was the Great Depression. And I feel like I can imagine when you were sitting at that time that there were people who were focused on the Great Depression, and then there were people who were focused on the fact that the lights were getting turned on. They would not have been able to call it a renaissance while they were living it, but we can look back and say that them turning their lights on created a renaissance for the rest of us to run on for a century. I feel like that is the opportunity of what's happening right now. And I think about a lot of what it's going to take for us to really root ourselves in a way that we can be planted in a way that we maybe are stronger than anything would have been before. And I think a lot of that is going to come from a lot of the ugly that's happening in our world. A lot of us financially ain't got it. Certain things are coming. Again, folks laid off left and right, unsure about their stability, not really able to depend on a lot of the structures that we were able to depend on before. Welcome in, Bess. Good to see you. Are not able to depend on a lot of the structures that we were able to depend on before. However, if 12 people are laid off, all of y'all are laid off together. Does everybody need a lawnmower? Does everybody need a blender? Can we maybe pool some resources? Can we learn what it looks like to have us be the stability that we depend on, instead of these systems being the stability that we depend on? But for us to do that, there's going to have to be new structures, new orientations, all of that. And my fear is, if we are so focused on what's going wrong, we're not doing that. We're not going, okay, this is going to look like this for a minute, bet. How are we going to re-navigate around that? And I think that so many of us, particularly when I think about women and femme folks, particularly when I think about queer folks and folks of color, we've been sold this bill of goods that the INDEPEND is going to get us through, and it's not. It allows for them, I personally feel like, to make it easier for us to pick off. If I get laid off and all I'm doing is thinking all day long about, okay, well, I got my family and this is what that's gonna look like, so how am I gonna get a job? And then I spend all of my days just applying for jobs, drinking when I can at night because I'm exhausted from applying for jobs, eating way too much so I'm not applying for jobs, making myself sicker, getting on the rat race, fighting with my partner, so then I'm obviously alone. Do we see the loop? I may buy more. I may consume more. I may be easier to manipulate. I may take less of a salary. You could. I wouldn't. You could. I wouldn't. Alternatively, could we do what our ancestors did to survive this time frame? And that's ancestors of all race, creeds, colors, and classes, which was come together and go, okay, independence is a privilege I don't have right now. What does it look like for me to be interdependently wealthy? What does it look like for me to stabilize my resources by how interdependently wealthy my community can get, and how good I am at being a part and resourced in and for community? That is also available in this mess. In this mess, we can find one another. In this mess, you may also find some time, because what I tell you is that the most educated demographic in this country, which is Black women, are getting the first amount of time off to themselves probably in a decade. There's a portion of women who done been working down to the government job for I don't even know how long, who didn't get a time off in 2020 because the kids were at home, and then I had to figure out homeschooling, and then now I have to figure out my loved ones and everything else and everything else and everything else. That educated, brilliant Black woman, woman of color, queer person that ain't had a air at the top of the bubble in probably a decade, that person also just got laid off. It is my humble belief that the ability to reshape the entire world lives inside of the mind of those people, but kept on a rat race of only having to be able to survive 24/7 doesn't necessarily create the environment for that person to be reimagining the world. But now there's an opportunity to, if we look at it like that. And my desire to anybody on the other end of my voice, to the folks who are here live, to the folks who may listen to the recording, to truly anybody that I'm talking to, God forbid you have a business, that this is the time to also be looking at that. Lick your wounds, take care of yourself, feel your feelings, sit with your therapist, and then figure out how you're going to be planted in this season instead of buried. Figure out where you can root. Figure out what wealth really is in the interdependence of your network. Grow your people to the amount of people who could provide the opportunities that you need. I know I've been yelling this at anybody who will listen for a couple of months of like, you need money to get eggs. Does somebody have chickens? You need money for the massage. Can you do some coaching for the person who gets the massage and then you get the massage? Can we start to create the beginnings of what more than an economy looks like shared between each other? Can we start to create a network of resource to be shared, interdependent amongst each other? Can we start getting resourced about rupture frameworks and how to repair? Can we start also think, yes, we have to survive, but can we also start thinking about, well, what is it that we're going to need to actually remake this world in an image that we want to live in? That is the possibility that I think is available in this current scenario. Welcome in, Kira. Good to see you. That's what I think is available. And this is the conversation that I want us to be having, particularly as business owners, because I think that, and so as I was coming into this conversation, getting ready to kind of channel in this piece, also, I'm getting ready to do my seasonal channel where I, do a channel for the season. And I decided that I'm going to put it in the summer digital workbook, but I'm also just decided today in pure good Gemini season fashion, I'm starting a private pod today, and that's going to be the first episode, is my summer channel for what I believe to be is coming up. Even to get ready for State of the Season podcast, Miss Kira, I'll be tapping you for that as well. As I was kind of sitting and getting prepared for that, I'm watching kind of forecasts from a variety of my favorite creators. And one of my favorite creators, again, Lee Harris, I absolutely love his energetic forecast, was having this conversation about the distractions, but also this idea of the feminine rising and what that looked like. And that the conversation was that feminine rising looked like boundaries, and that feminine rising also looked a little bit like creating and defending that with which hasn't been defended in the past. And it makes me think about the idea that if we're going to recreate a world, excuse me, if we're going to create a world that we all want to live in, we can't just recreate the one that we've seen with mildly less oppression. It's going to need to be pulled up from the root, which is going to require us to be in a place of creating more care-centered spaces. And for some of us, that's going to mean a different level of leadership. And I think, again, to Lee's point, what he was saying was like, that may not mean that you're on the internet talking to people like me. That may not mean that you're out here, running for political office or running a nonprofit or any of that. It literally may just look like the sphere of influence that you know that you're called to. But my fear is that a lot of us have businesses, are called to a wider sphere of influence that we're allowing ourselves to actually try on. We actually are called, but we're over here like, but I want to have every blender and every lawnmower, and I want to be INDPENDNT, and I want to have my own car. I want to have my own this, and I don't want to have to share, and I don't want to have to, and then we're wondering why we have figured out how to hoard all the toilet paper and make sure our refrigerator is stocked, but we're still miserable or still laid off or still navigating this circumstance. And then when the phone call rings every 5 minutes, we're there and available to answer that call, but we have nobody to make the phone call of. This is the shit. We can't take that with us either. Like, that's, again, yes, let's survive. But this is thriving behavior. This is what we've got to contend with as well. And every bit of good luck and juju is in the air for it, particularly this summer. If you are of the astrological girly, this movement of the last couple weeks of Jupiter in Cancer and then Jupiter moving into Leo, this beautiful alignment with all of the interesting things happening in Gemini that allow for a message to get out, that allow for a message to be heard and received by community in a different way. On June 9th, this coming together of Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, really asking us the reality of what does it look like to have care-centered relationships and practices and containers, right? There's so much here and available if we give ourselves the opportunity to think about it. And if we give ourselves the agency and the sovereignty to say, I'm not going to be fucking buried. Again, thinking back to this conversation around the Great Depression and Jim Crow and 1920 and our ancestors and the people who waded through that, everything in the world came together to make sure that they could not even live, and figured out a way to make jazz. Look, I may be depressed, but I'm also gonna make jazz. I will have jazz. I will have jazz. I will have jazz. I will create something out of this. This chaos will not be wasted. And I think that's my invitation for the people. Is I want us to be doing that. And a lot of the conversations that I want to have over the next month are around how do we create more care centered practices for ourselves? How do we take this energy of care throughout the summer? How do we create worlds that feel more nourishing to our soul? And how do we get interdependent in a way that actually works? That's not just for the clicks and for the online, but that actually works, that actually has us feeling nourished, that actually has us with one another enough to make magic. That's the other piece that I did not mention about the Harlem Renaissance that I thought was so interesting. Because everyone needed financially to be in places that they typically wouldn't have been. They couldn't have been in some of the more richer or white neighborhoods. They had to be with each other, next door to each other, in each other's neighborhood, back at your mama's house, back at the whatever it looked like. And necessity is the mother of invention. Invention was created because everybody had to be on top of each other, resources were limited, and people had to get creative. That same opportunity is available to us now. Look around. Does it not look like that outside? It looks like that to me. And that same opportunity is here. What will be our jazz? What will be our renaissance? And we're so much more resourced in ways and so lacking in resources in ways. And there's so many lessons, and we have so much information of how they walked that talk. I just want us also to consider it as we walk our own. Because there's a lot of people out here invested in your demise. A lot of people want you distracted, overwhelmed, burnout, trying to get your next check and not focused on the crazy that is trying to happen up underneath our noses. While we have to be informed, we also have to actually create the new reality we want to live in. Hands down, that's it. All right, friends. That's my thoughts. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk about it. It is in our hands, and not like wait. Let me also speak into that real quick, because I can hear the conversation of like, why black people gotta come and do it again? Why do people of color gotta come save everybody again? I'm not talking about saving everybody. I am talking about the reality of saving ourselves. We won't make it if they don't make it. It ain't no them. If it's not for everybody, we don't get to play either. I don't know what lie they've told you, but the biggest lie at the current moment in time is that we are not all of one another and interdependent. I don't give a shit. You don't need to pick up the mantle of the revolution that our ancestors died for in that same way. However, there is what is the word? There is a reciprocal need for you to be in participation in the liberation of your own life. You have to participate in your own liberation. You don't get to just, we have laid down too long and let other people decide what is going to work best in our best interest, to the point where you don't even know your damn best interest no more. Jabria says, agreed. I'm glad you loved every second of this. Thank you. We can't. You will have to pick up the mantle, at least in your own life. And, the truth of the matter is that a lot of you all came here to lead in your own ways. Some of y'all, it's 5 people, but some of y'all, it's 500. And some of y'all, it's 5,000. And most of y'all that it's 500 or 5,000 are trying to convince yourself that it's 5 people because it's work and you don't want to do it. And okay, oh well, I love you so much, but this is what you came here for. Shit, I didn't make the weather. I'm just reporting it. It's just what it is. And if you don't do what you came here to do, your life is going to look like it. You think it's bad now? I wouldn't be going against the universe with this happening outside. I'd be trying to use whatever I have in my own best interest to make that happen. I'm going to try to go with the grain when it comes to that. This is not a time to be fighting in the streets with the universe. This is not a time to be deep in your self-sabotage. And if you notice it, you're resourced. Come around. And this is the point of being in community. Ask somebody, cousin, am I in my self-sabotage? If you don't have nobody to ask, work there first. That's the place, y'all. And we are not going to make it without each other. We are not going to make it with a false sense of independence. And we are not going to make it waiting for somebody else to come and do it. It's not the season for that. Gotta pick up the mantle of your own liberation. Got to, got to, got to. You deserve it. And nobody's going to be better at it than you. And there's a particular unique flavor, says Gemini season, a particular tone and energetic to your voice that is required for it to happen. There's a way that you going to say it that people need to hear it. There's a way that you going to write it that people need to read it. There's a way that you going to sit in it that is necessary for it to get out. Whether it's for 5 or whether it's for 5,000, all of you all are different. But I need for you to know. And I need for you to be about the work of that as well. Okay? I love y'all for real. Dead ass love y'all for real. Again, if you're wondering why I came in so hot, I read this damn Sky Full of Elephants. Fucking the girls. Fucking up the girls. And Kira, since I have you here, I also picked up, while I was at the Analog Dope Store, my favorite bookstore in Las Vegas, The Seven Daughters of Dupree. They just had an event at Analog Dope over the weekend, and I missed it. But everyone says this book has been changing their life. So I'm going to be reading that to y'all. And also letting you know, that's how I'm, keeping myself cool and all this damn fire horse energy. Make sure you all are doing the same. Oh, yay! Okay. Okay. Good to know. I'm excited about it. All right, my friends. I will be back next week, 12/12, having the same conversation. That is right before we start the huddle. So, again, come and be with you all. Look, because, again, telepathy. Jabria says, I was thinking about it as you were talking, Sky Full of Elephants. Because, look, we here. I will see you all next week, 12 p.m. PST on a Friday. Liberate yourself this weekend. Take extra care of yourself this weekend. Care doesn't happen when you don't plan for it. Plan for your care, your rejuvenation, because you deserve it this weekend. Please, 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 please try on the things that I'm talking about. See if they land and they resonate for you. Again, those are my folks who are in Business Cousins and Squad. Make sure you get up at your office hours. It's the last month for office hours to be happening the way that they have been happening in the past. I have brand new big announcements coming with that here in the near future. So please be ready for that. Again, hot church announcement dates. The huddle is on Friday and Saturday, June 12th and 13th. Friday, we're together 2 to 5 p.m. PST. 13th, we're again together 11 to 5 p.m. PST. That's the key and the Q&A. We also have our Power of Audio workshop for Oshimari Learning coming up on June 24th from 10 a.m. to noon. You want to know all about why we've been loving private podcasts and audio so much and how you can utilize it for your community. That is on the 24th. And then we've got our summer cohort where you can create your new summer lead magnet happening July 8th. So don't say I didn't warn you. These are the church announcements. Save the dates. Info for all of that is in my bio. All of our summer Oshimari learning opportunities are going to be on oshimarilearning.com, as well as our Be Great tailgate. These Jill Scott tickets are still available in Las Vegas. If you ain't got your tickets, go get your Jill Scott tickets for August the 15th at the Palms. And then whether you got your tickets or not, you can come and experience the album with us at the Be Great tailgate August the 14th. Location still deciding. I'm still looking for that perfect location partner, but I want y'all to save the dates. If you want to be in Las Vegas with us, please do. That one I know for sure will be 5 to 8 p.m. on August the 14th. Location to be announced, but save the dates. I love y'all for real. Please take excellent care of yourself this week. I will see you next week. All right, ending the Instagram. YouTube family. Oh, good. That's what that looks like. YouTube family, I want to make sure that you all know. Come be with us. I'm glad to be with you. Happy Friday. All right.